Hey guys, just a heads up, there was a little bit of noise happening outside the studio in this episode. So if you can hear something, try to ignore it. We're going to try and remove it as much as possible. But hopefully you can still enjoy the episode and hear about all the cool things that we're doing to launch our new studio, which we'll be talking about shortly. She doesn't take no shit.
Yeah. Get it, don't take no shit.
No, like she does not. Like she is very kind of like you get what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. The audience has no clue right now.
I love her. If you're listening to this, I love you.
Jake, what up?
Yeah, all good. How are you?
I'm all right. Excited. We'd one of our clients just posted. Clients up in Halifax. They opened the offer last week, to which we put on social media. They had over 600 people on the waiting list, which is awesome. They opened it and they had 80 appointments, I believe. 80 bang on the nose. 80 appointments booked. To which they posted yesterday, which was a Monday yesterday, they had 18 people join.
There we go.
That's over £4,000 in one day.
Shout out to Matt and Kelly.
Matt and Kelly.
That is an awesome achievement. And again, not being biased or anything, but our whole launch campaign is pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, mate. They killed it. We're having fun at the moment with how we could potentially launch in 1 month and what would need to happen for that to happen. So keep...
I think it's good to think creatively, isn't it?
Yeah. We were coming up with some fun ideas earlier. Jacob running like naked ads, these.
No, I don't know. That was an idea. I'm pretty sure I didn't really agree to that one, but
okay, well,
happy to take one for the team.
Tough.
But anyway, talking of launching, we've got some good news, everyone.
Yeah, get ready for it. Drum roll. We are launching a new studio.
Boom.
The second Revamp, our third location between us. Very, very excited about this one. We're launching it in a place called Halstead, which is about 40 minutes from the studio in Hadley that we have already. I want to talk, we're going to go through the whole thing. We're going to go through our thinking, what we've been doing in the last week or so, and the next steps.
Yeah, I think like for the next few episodes, I think it would be really cool just to walk through our entire process in real time. Because anyone that's thinking about launching their own studio, or perhaps somebody's thinking about maybe expanding like we are, to go through and listen to everything that we're doing, I think could be quite valuable. And also some of the mistakes that we make along the way as well, which if you've been a listener of this podcast for a while, you'll know that we did try Revamp number 2 and it all went to shit. Whereas now...
Revamp number 2 went to poo.
Yes. Whereas now we've taken that insight and we've taken that experience and we've now filtered it into this new location, which we're really happy about.
Yeah. So instead of going bigger, one big location, we're going to a second location, a similar size to what we have.
Yeah.
Because from the feedback that we've got across the board, that seems to be what the people want.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it, Jake.
Yeah, let's go back to how we first discovered Halstead and why we chose there, and like some of the story of us maybe turning up there and seeing what that whole space was about.
Yeah. Actually, we were sent this location by our dad. Funny enough, he's on Rightmove more than the actual CEO of Rightmove. And he sent us this location thinking, like, the boys are looking, this would be quite a good space for them.
I think it's funny because I think Mum sent it to me as well. I think they both got very excited.
She probably took credit.
Yeah.
But the really cool thing is the Halstead location is on a high street as well. It's on a busy high street, just like we have here at Hadley. It's a similar kind of town as Hadley. Now, for those that know this way, Halstead's like 5,000 more population.
Yeah.
It's got more gyms in Halstead already, but none running this model.
Mm-hmm.
So we're excited about that. But it's also got like big villages and towns next to Halstead itself. So I think within a 5-mile radius, there's significantly more than we have around here.
Yeah. And do you know when you do that little kind of Facebook ad search of like, total population on average and things like that, I just, for a little bit of fun, I looked on Hadley and compared it to Halstead. And yeah, you're right. Like Halstead is much bigger in terms of like 6-mile radius from it.
Yeah. So that's pretty exciting. Parking, there's like, let's just go across the board, should we? Let's talk about it all. The location itself is actually like just under 500 square foot.
Which is smaller than what we have.
Yeah, which is smaller than here. But that is all you need to grow a great business.
But also, I think it's not just the size; it's what you can do with it. It's the space as well, isn't it? Because here we are constrained a little bit in terms of like there's a big kind of wall in the middle of the room.
Almost feels like 2 rooms,
and we have to kind of work around it, whereas this one is a little bit more open plan.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's open plan. It's beautiful. It's just been brand newly refurbed. Air conditioning is in there. It's just lovely.
Two doors down from the pub.
2 doors down from the pub, so that's ideal.
Yep.
A Thai restaurant next to it. I love my Thai.
Yeah.
It's ideal, Jake.
Yeah.
The parking situation, people get an hour free on the high street. So the parking situation is pretty good. I will say, like in Hadley, in the future, paid parking will come in Halstead.
High streets. I mean, rarely will you find like a busy high street without some element of paid parking. So we've just kind of taken that as like, you know, I've always say to you, don't I? I think our strength is that we will go where no other gym owners will go, and I think that speaks to our brand a little bit. And I think sometimes, you know, if it means somebody has to pay £1 to come and train, you know, that shouldn't be an issue. And we've experienced from here that hasn't been an issue where perhaps people have had to park elsewhere.
Let's talk about some of the challenges with the location.
Can I start?
You go for it, mate.
The ceiling height.
Yeah, it's a challenge. It's not a deal breaker for us anyway. It probably would be for a lot of studio owners or people looking out there. The studio height is, so I'm 6'2". If I put my hand, stretch my arm in the air right above my head, I can palm flat on the ceiling. Bang on, palm flat. So for me to do an overhead press is not happening. For most people, it would be fine.
I remember you sending me like a message being like, Jake, it's perfect, because you went to go and see it first initially. You're like, it's perfect, it's great. Just one thing. And you sent me a picture of your hand like touching the ceiling. And you're like, no overhead press. I'm like, okay, whatever, fair enough.
So, I mean, for a lot of people, I think they'd go, no, we're not going there. But the positives of the location far outweighed the one negative in this specific circumstance. So we're just not going to program overhead press standing. We'll just program it seated.
And no one will know.
But yeah, no one will know because general population don't really care.
Well, also, like, if I'm being told to do an overhead press and just told to sit on the plyo box or a bench to do it,
deltoid.
I'm not going to question it. I'm not going to be like, I should be standing up right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we took that into account. We thought more about how people behave, less so about actually the programming itself, because we can work around that.
Yeah, sure. So that obviously rules a few exercises out. But for us, that's no problem. And that's the biggest and real only challenge with the location. Obviously, parking will be a future challenge, which we'll figure out. That's fine. It's small, so like storage, we have got a good bit of storage underneath the stairway area. So we're going to like lock up like the music system and stuff in there so it's not in the way. So yeah, I think that's pretty much about it.
Cool. Okay, cool. Let's move on to, okay, so we secured the location. We got the, we talked about some of the challenges. Now, we were kind of hashing out the lease with the landlord, weren't we, for some time with their solicitors and all this kind of thing, as you do. And then we got a random email one day saying the landlord would like to meet with us. So this was before any lease was actually signed, or even before they actually looked at the lease. We'd agreed on terms and all that kind of thing. But we were invited to go and actually meet with the landlord. And yeah, it was like a scene out of The Gentleman on Netflix. Like, this landlord, she was like very kind of
Mature. Before you say anything else.
Well, she was kind of the type of person that you think, like, she doesn't take no shit.
Yeah. They don't take no shit.
No, like, she does not. Like, she is very kind of like this. You get what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. The audience has no clue right now.
I love her. If you're listening to this, I love you.
But she was awesome. I think she was the kind of lady that wanted to look us in the eyes and know that we were going to pay her.
Old school.
Yeah.
Which I like.
Yeah, like what one thing she said, I said, look, we're excited, like we're excited to build a business here. Thank you so much for obviously allowing us to do so. And she goes, look, as long as you pay on time, I don't care. And I said, we always pay on time. And her response to that was, I know, I've done my research.
Which and I shriveled up a little bit when I heard that.
I don't want to know, dude.
I kind of just went all a little bit.
Yeah, see, I went the opposite. Yeah. I loved her. So if you're listening to this, we love you.
Yeah, we might not have a studio after this podcast.
Don't kick us out.
Yeah.
But no, she was really awesome.
Hey, quick one from us. If you're enjoying this episode, you'll love our free weekly newsletter.
It's for current and aspiring studio owners who are looking for the latest growth hacks to sign up more members and keep them.
It's a quick 2-minute email covering the stuff we're testing in our own gyms.
So you'll be getting access to what's working today.
If you're interested, you can join 3,500 gym owners and go to thefitpreneur.com and subscribe.
That's thefitpreneur.com. Anyway, back to the episode.
But
And
I think
it's
there's a
more
lesson there
confidence.
because I think not many studio owners or aspiring studio owners will actually go out their way to meet with the landlord. Oftentimes what tends to happen is the landlord passes gets a lease organized by solicitors or whatnot. You then sign the lease, you then move in. And I mean, with this studio in Hadley, I mean, you know the landlord quite well already, but I've never actually spoken with him or seen him. So I think like one lesson out of this, I think sometimes as a business owner, as a tenant, the landlord wants to know whether you're going to actually stick by your word and pay on time and all that kind of thing. So I think it's really important maybe to go out of your way and actually meet with these people that you're going to be actually paying and starting that relationship off early. Because,
Yeah, it's nothing better than looking someone in the eye, shaking their hand.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
not many landlords under the age of 40, 50, is there?
no,
Right? So, and that generation are very much inclined to want to meet
Yeah.
someone face to face. So I think it's a really good thing.
but one good thing came out of that meeting as well.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll go.
Yeah, you go.
So she, this is like the first week in August, we met her. Our lease was set to start on September the 1st. And she just chucked us the key and said, you got access, do what you like.
Yeah, and I think she literally did chuck the key as well.
Yeah, no, she chucked
Which
it.
again just made me like, you are
Shrivel
awesome.
up.
Yeah,
It was awesome. So she essentially gave us three more weeks for free.
which
To
meant
get in
that
there
we
and have
could
access.
then kickstart the whole launch
Yeah.
campaign 3 weeks before we thought we were going to be able to.
And that wouldn't have happened if we didn't meet her.
No.
So, in terms of the goals, just quickly before we get onto the waiting list, like just to break it down really quickly, August is about meeting coaches, obviously starting the launch. We started the launch before we'd signed the lease. A lot of people think that they can't do that. They have to wait for the lease first, but we're happy to wait for terms and agree terms and then start the launch. And if anything happens with the lease, the landlord pulls out, anything like that, we can either hold, we still have that list if we find another location within that town or that place, or you spoke about before, pushing them leads like further down the line to someone else or doing what you want with those leads.
Yeah,
So-
I think like it's one of those things where you got to weigh up the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario, it all falls through. And what have you done? You've just built a list of 400 people in a local area that you haven't had to pay for, that you can use in any way you want. And even if you have to mention to them, look, I'm really sorry, this location is fallen through. However, we're on the hunt. Maybe some of you 400 people that are all from the local area might know of somewhere. If you do, let us know and we're happy to serve you. Like there's so many different ways that you can then leverage that situation if it were to ever arise. So that's one thing we've taken out from this whole process of sometimes you might not need to literally have the lease signed before you start the launch process because you're wasting a lot of missed opportunity.
Yeah. So that's what we did in August, starting that launch, talking to coaches. September is about build out. And then obviously August is about consultations.
Yeah.
So,
And also one great flywheel that we have, we obviously consult with our coaching clients about building out their own studios and launching them to capacity and all that kind of thing. So part of the process over the last year for them is building out all of the systems, the frameworks, the timelines, the templates, the ads, everything to enable them to launch with success. So all we've done is basically taken what we've built for them and just molded it around our own launch. So it feels kind of like full circle moment of, with everything we've done for our clients, which has led to them filling their studios. We've now taken that and actually applying it ourselves.
it's funny because we took about a week to pad the launch out for this place. And we finished with the landlord a few weeks ago and we went to the pub and we padded out the launch in 1 hour
Yeah.
because we had everything already.
Which,
So-
I mean, talk about kind of leverage and having an asset within the business that you can literally just copy and paste and apply to a separate location. Like
Yeah.
that's mad.
So Jake, we're 2 weeks into the launch.
We are. Yes. So
Where are we?
So last Friday, what are we now? We're the 20th of August. So we launched the waiting list on the... Now I've got all the metrics in front of me here because I thought it might be cool to go through everything in real time, like I said. On the 9th of August.
So it's been 11 days.
11 days. So we did our first post in the Facebook group, which if you're familiar with our whole launch campaign and what we do, then head back to loads of newsletters and maybe see what we did with this first initial location as well. But we're basically copying and pasting it, but condensing it into a 2-month instead of a 3-month. So we launched, so we added that to the Facebook group. We got, straight off the bat, 60 people join on the first night, which was a good result. 52 then followed the next day. And then it kind of went a little bit kind of stale. It kind of was like 5 people here and there, 1 person, 6 people. But then we had our first lead up letter. So the first email in our launch process go out, scheduled to go out on the 15th of August. The 16th of August. But what we do with every lead up letter, we signal what that letter is going to be in the Facebook group. And the whole idea around that is that we wanting to take the people in the Facebook group and divert them into our email list, right? So we go from having a rented platform like a Facebook group to an owned platform like our own email list, and we can nurture those people along the way until we actually launch. So here's what happened in those days. So it's all about location, announcing the location. And what do local people love? They love a little bit of kind of like gossip that they can share with a friend. So we're very secret about where this new fitness studio is going to be. So the whole idea of that Facebook group the day before the first lead up letter went out was a picture of us with gym location ? With a piece of copy that basically said, last week we launched our waiting list and we've had X amount of people join. Because again, that shows bandwagon effect, social proof, all of those psychology elements we've talked about before. Tomorrow, we're sharing details on our specific location with all of these people. If you want to find out where we're going to be, join the waiting list here. Brackets, it might surprise a few. All right. So that obviously is going to make people, okay, right, I need to join. I need to figure out and know exactly where this place is going to be because I need to be the first person to know. Okay. So that's kind of the whole, that's what we wanted to create. And as a result of that post, 152 people in one day subscribed to the waiting list. And then the following day, we had 30, then 25, then 19, and then 10. So last week specifically has been our biggest lift in terms of waiting list subscribers. So in total now, I think we're up to, we checked literally 5 minutes before this podcast, 370 odd people in the waiting list after only one email. Which puts us at a similar position 2 weeks in that we were with when we launched our first in Hadley.
Yeah.
One thing we're also doing with this launch, however, is we're being more aggressive. A couple of reasons for that. We only have 2 months to fit this whole campaign into, as opposed to 3 months that we had with the first revamp. Number 2, we've also got Tom, who's coming on board as head coach to oversee a lot of the operations and take a lot of the sessions in that location. He's also going to be assisting you with sales consults, which puts us in a really good position because we can double up on consults if needs be, which means that we can double the amount of appointment slots in the same week. And we're also allowing another week of appointments that we didn't have before when we launched Revamp in Hadley. So there's a lot of things working for us now, and we're going to be way more aggressive. And part of that approach also means that we've started running ads to the waiting list, which we didn't do with Hadley.
Yeah.
So, not a majority, actually. I'd probably say about half, if not even less than that, of those waiting list subscribers that I've just mentioned to you there, all come from Facebook ads.
Yeah.
So, and those Facebook ads, by the way, we're getting like leads in for like 18p a lead. And we're just having a conversation about that, weren't we? Of like, when you launch, you have the most leverage because you're new and people want to join and then with this new thing that's coming to their hometown. So I think it's important to really dial in on that because, I mean, now for Hadley, our lead cost is around about £5-6, which is still relatively cheap. But if you can acquire all of these leads for 18p or £1, just because you're at a point where you're new and people are interested, then why not do that? So things are looking good in terms of the waiting list.
Love it. Let's talk about what we're going to do over the next week. So just next steps of jobs that we have. So obviously it's a shell right now. It hasn't got any kit in. It's not, it doesn't obviously look like a studio. It looks more like a shop.
Yeah.
So the next week is more about me meeting people. So we're meeting the signage guys. We're meeting the security, music, and alarm install guys. That's Thursday. I'm also meeting 3 coaches over the next week. So as Jake mentioned there, Tom is coming on board as head coach of that location. We are going to hire 2 coaches under Tom to assist with the full timetable. So I met a girl yesterday who's lovely. I've got another couple of meetings this week with coaches. So I think I've got 5 booked in total over the next few weeks. So we'll be making a decision on 2 in about 3 weeks' time.
Which, by the way, if you are or know a coach in the Halstead, Braintree, Sudbury kind of area, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely right. So we'd love to speak to them. So that's kind of what we're doing over the next week. So it's more of a let's get the studio ready. We're also ordering equipment, which is quite a cool topic to get onto, to touch onto. We'll be able to talk to you more about that next week. But this is looking like it's going to cost around £14,000
in equipment.
Which if you guys know, when we launched this place cost us around 42.
And we're probably
build
like
out.
flexing about that when we like
Yeah.
42 grand. Look what we've done, and everyone was like, "Yeah, you probably could have like spent a fraction of that."
Which is quite funny. So yeah, we're going significantly less, and the product is going to look as good. So
Yeah.
that was something that we've learned from.
Yep.
So we're looking at about 14K. Maybe head up to 18. We're looking at the big scales again, which we need to talk about. That's a bit of an ego play for me, but I think they are really, really important to have digital scales that are really high quality, because obviously they assist not only in fulfillment but also in sales consultations as well. So we'll have a chat about that. But yeah, it's a pretty cool week, busy week
ahead. And the lead up letter that we're going to be sending out this coming Friday is the voting email, which when we launched Hadley, obviously no one knew who we were, even what we were called. So part of the voting process was like vote for your logo. And obviously now we have a logo because we've been about for a year. So we were trying to rack our brains in terms of what could people vote for and engage them in a poll. So what I've done is I've created like 4 mock-ups of what the signage would be like outside. And we're just going to get people to vote for what it's going to look like outside, basically. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah. And I've seen the mock-ups. They're cool. That's everything, Jay. I think that's the update from the last week. So the exciting news is we're launching a new location.
Woo!
Make sure you listen to this podcast or watching on YouTube, because you're going to get the step-by-step of what we're doing over the next few weeks. Call it like a little mini-series, I guess.
Yep.
As we launch this thing. And as always, we're going to be completely transparent with numbers, what's going on, where the pitfalls are, what we're struggling with, but also what's going well, so you guys can copy and replicate what we're doing.
Yeah. So it's going to be, a fun couple of months. And looking forward to having you guys join us on this journey.
That's the pod.
Bye.
Get it, don't take no shit.